For this video, I'll be talking about the lore of Vikala and the Divine Generals. Before speaking about Vikala, I'll explain what the Divine Generals are. The Divine Generals are a group of characters who together must defend the Sky Realm from astral invaders, just as their ancestors once did. Despite what it says in Anila and Vikala's bio in the Granblue Fantasy Versus site, saying that they have once guarded the skies from astral incursion, they haven't actually been shown fighting any primal beasts or astrals themselves. Some of the Divine Generals have once teamed up with Zoe at one point to deal with a threat, but their opposition was not a primal beast. With that said, it is still their job to defend the realm from astral invaders, following the end of the war after their temples were established. It is understandable that they haven't seen any of these threats given that the last big war between astrals and sky dwellers was 500 years back. Most of them retreated to their realm. However, the Divine Generals now deal in another matter besides defending the realm from astral invaders. They manage something called the Joya Bell and the Kleshas. The Kleshas are worldly desires. These things are absorbed by a large bell called the Joya Bell and stores specifically 108 negative worldly desires in order to maintain balance of the emotions within the sky dwellers in the sky realm. While 108 negative emotions is its limit, if it tries to absorb past that limit, the Joya will get corrupted by it and attempt to flood out the excess amount onto sky dwellers to amplify their worldly desires with negative emotion, causing chaos in the process in the sky realm. This job is stated to go to Divine Generals who are active in the current year and done in a ceremony to ring the Joya Bell 108 times to cleanse the bell of the negative emotions that tainted the previous year, all the while showing appreciation to it. The act of doing this represents how every year can carry negative emotions and that it is to be left behind in the previous year as we enter the next one with positivity. This is based off of something called the Joya no Kan-e, the Japanese Buddhist custom of ringing a bell 108 times on New Year's Eve. The number 108 represents the number of evil desires suffered by man on earth. The Divine Generals are based off of the Chinese calendar. A year after the game came out, the first Zodiac character, or rather first Divine General, Anila, was released, representing the sheep in the Chinese calendar. Every year, a new Divine General is revealed, and only two are left to this day, that being the snake and horse. All of the Divine Generals, at least in the present day, are female. But this was not always the case. As the first Dog General would state, at the time when he was alive, male Divine Generals would often be seen. But times have changed. So now, let's go over Vikala. Vikala is the Rat Divine General of the North. She is often full of energy and positivity, but when her rat ears come off, her hair is black and she is shy and timid. Everything had first began with her being this way until things started to change for her through her efforts.
"名前と年齢しかわからない。親戚どころか誕生日すら不明。本人に聞いてみたけど。
こんな小さい子供じゃ無理ないわよ。なんて気の毒なのかしら。これからどうなってしまうの？」
Vikala first grew up in an orphanage due to tragic circumstances regarding an unknown accident that befell her parents. At this point in time, discussed among the townsfolk's adults, Vikala had to be taken to an orphanage. The man mentions that the only one available was a Harvan orphanage, while the other available orphanages were off the island the accident took place on. Sadly though, she was rejected by them because of the mention of a condition regarding her hair. Vikala's hair would end up turning white at times randomly, and the notion of this was enough to reject her due to how scary it would be, if not to the children at the orphanage. So it was then decided that she would have to stay at the Harvan orphanage, which was the only one left. However, this would lead to other unfortunate circumstances down the line.
今日からここが君のお家だ。みんなが君の家族なんだよ。だから仲良くね。
なんで黙ってるの？
喋れ
来たの？
ビカラちゃんは緊張してるのかな。皆さん優しくしてあげてね。
はーい。ねえビカラちゃん、こっちで一緒に遊ぼう。ビカラちゃん、今日は縄跳びとかくれんぼ、どっちがいい？かくれんぼ？縄跳び？両方。私もどっちも好き。じゃあどっちもやろう。
A Harvan and a human are biologically different in terms of height and how they grow up. So while Vikala was enjoying a brief time of peace with the Harvan's children she had just met, upon Vikala reaching the age of 12, she was already a little over half of their heights. The Harvans were at least near the height of her knee and were said to be at a rebellious phase, while Vikala was still very docile. So when she moved around in the orphanage, she knocked into Harvans constantly and accidents happened.
おい、何見てんだ。俺たちのこと見下してんだろ。
いえ、違う。
あっち行けよ。いつもみたいに隅っこでおとなしくしてろよな。
はい。痛い。なんでこんな端っこに突っ立ってんの？ごめんなさい。もう散らかっちゃったじゃん。体が大きいんだからちょっとは気使ってよね。すみません。私片付けるので。触らないで。余計に仕事が増えるでしょ。あんたドジなんだから。でも掃除道具持ってくるので。ごめんなさい。大丈夫？お母さんからもらった髪飾りが。
ああ、壊した。踏んづけたんだ。大丈夫？院長先生に言いに行こう。まだ直せるかも。
大丈夫。一人で行くから。ごめんなさい。私も一緒に。
近寄らないでよ。わざとやったんじゃないの？
そんなこと。
The orphanage director then had to have Vikala leave the orphanage because of how much of a problem her height was as a human amongst the Harvans at the age of 12. However, she would be given a home to live in and a job as discussed with other people. Upon leaving, her lack of experience made life still consistently difficult for her to adjust to the outside world. On her way home, she meets a kind of sentient monster trap familiar named Dormouse. It is said that the first divine rat gave it life. It is later nicknamed Dory. It tells her that she is the next divine general and that it has come to get her. Whenever Dormouse can speak, only Vikala can hear it. To her friend Delilah, a Harbin friend that grew up with her at the orphanage, Vikala is speaking to herself. It unfortunately does not have telepathy, so it can only be spoken back to in the literal sense. It is revealed by Dormouse that her hair turning white is simply because she is a descendant of the first rat divine general, and that it is originally supposed to be white instead of black. Later on, during another conversation with Dormouse, Vikala has a conversation with it about Vikala's ideal self, a version of herself she seeks to want to become after self-reflection each time she ends up messing up on something. This ideal self would be someone who would do something better in the situation than her current self, and is thought to look more outgoing and frilly instead of boring, while bringing smiles to the less fortunate. Dormouse mentions this could be a sign of change, and that she should allow that side of herself to come to the surface. With Dormouse's support and a mannequin that Vikala found from the garbage and cleaned, she uses it to craft what her ideal self would become in the future. Over time, dressing it up more and more with clothes she made herself. In the meantime, Vikala then gets assistance from Delilah to improve her social skills, which has a rocky start at first.
じゃあ今やってみたら。ほら、私を知らない人だと思って明るく話しかけてみなよ。明るく。わかりました。うえいバイブス感じる？キモ！あ、こんにちは。いい天気ですね。
お、ああ、そうだね。でも夕方は雨が降るかもって話だよ。
あなたの調子はどうですか？私はこの島の出身です。あなたの趣味は何ですか？私は午後玉遊びをします。一方的に喋るな！すみません。デライラさんの書いてくれたセリフ通りにしたんですけど。ちゃんと相手の言ったことに対して何らかの反応をするようにとも書いたよね。
Sometime later, after Delilah is told of Vikala's intent on helping people as a means to become her ideal self, that Vikala is told her and Delilah are orphans and will eventually need to get out there in the world and live for themselves. They as orphans have had misfortunate lives, so Delilah states what's the point in worrying about others in their current state if it's only to be a detriment to their progress in life. It should just be left to people in more fortunate situations and that they should focus on themselves first. After some more self-reflection from Vikala as she speaks with Dormouse, Vikala decides to stick to her ideals, confirming that she isn't doing kind things for the sake of other people, but because she herself wants to. She then finishes her mannequin with the mouse ears she made. The ears she puts on the mannequin, and by extension Vikala, are to symbolize that she'll always lend an ear to people's problems and turn their negative feelings into positive ones. It comes off as a surprise that despite all the misfortune she's been through her life so far, she still seeks to dedicate herself towards helping people. Vikala seeks to create a utopia where everyone can be happy, while being a person that can be easily approached and spoken to. Upon her declaration on what kind of person she seeks to be, she dons the rat ears she created. This then turns her hair white, and her awakening as a divine general being complete. Later on, Vikala is seen at the Rat Temple holding a ceremony, that of which being the utopia she envisioned, taking place and everyone enjoying themselves. Delilah, who had been looking for her, ends up being shocked as even people who used to grow up with Vikala could not even recognize her due to personality shift, her hair color, and outfit. She then goes home, accomplishing her goal of what she wanted to do on the island. Eventually, sometime after this point, she meets the crew. After a conversation about them, saying that they aren't bad people and letting Delilah know about it, she says her goodbyes to her, the only real friend she had that knew her on the island. But when she does return, Vikala has the rat temple be used as an orphanage. Vikala's character seems to have the yin-yang symbol in mind when it comes to her character, especially given that she uses the terms Yang-topian and Yin-topian, as well as what happens when her rat ears are on and off. Those puffy rats you see are rat spirits. They answer to the beckoning of the divine rat. Vikala used to be startled of rats, but not these specific ones. Lastly, to this day, Vikala has the largest Fate episode out of any character in the game, being nearly the size of a story event. That concludes this video on Vikala and the Divine Generals. If you're interested in reading more about Vikala and the Generals, check out these stories. Thanks for watching.